You know that feeling, right? You check into a beautiful hotel room, you're absolutely exhausted from a long day of travel, but you just lie there, wide awake, startled by every little unfamiliar sound. Well, that feeling of unease? It is not just in your head. It's a really deep biological response. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the science of why this happens. And more importantly, we'll walk through a super practical protocol to help you reclaim your peace and get that deep, restorative sleep you need to actually enjoy your travels. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to meet your brain's own personal night watchman. Then we'll get into why hotel rooms can feel so unsettling, a concept I call losing environmental sovereignty. After that, we'll flip the script, shifting your mindset from a passive guest to the room's security chief. And I'll give you a tool called the 360 Perimeter Protocol. And finally, we'll reframe this whole thing as a strength and wrap up with a simple challenge to help you, reclaim your rest. Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. Why is it so darn hard to sleep in a new place? Well, the answer is in this fascinating survival mechanism that scientists have a really specific name for.
It's not the mattress, it's not the weird air conditioning. The most unsettling part of a hotel stay is this deep, primal thing called the first night effect. Think of it as a built-in security system, hardwired into us to protect us when we're most vulnerable. Sleeping in an unfamiliar place. For our ancestors, sleeping in a new cave, this effect was literally the difference between waking up the next morning and... So what is the first night effect, really? Well, sleep scientists have actually figured this out. During your first night somewhere new, your brain doesn't completely power down. Specifically, the left hemisphere kind of stays in a later state of sleep. It's on high alert, acting like a dedicated night watchman, constantly scanning for weird sounds or any potential threat. That's why the smallest noise from the hallway can jolt you awake. It's not you failing to relax, it's your brain successfully deploying a very, very old security feature. So many of us beat ourselves up over this. We think we're being difficult or fussy, or maybe we're just bad travelers. But I want you to hear this. That feeling is proof that your brain is working perfectly. It's just running a security program that was designed for one thing and one thing only, your survival. And for those of us over 60, this can feel even more intense because we naturally spend a little less time in that super deep sleep, which leaves that vigilant night watchman even closer to the surface. Okay, so if this first night effect is so natural, why does it feel so amplified in a hotel room? Well, the answer comes down to this idea of environmental sovereignty. Just think about your home for a second. You've spent years, maybe decades, fine-tuning everything. You know the exact sound the floorboards make, the click of the front door. It is 100% predictable, and most importantly, it's controllable. You have total environmental sovereignty. Now, contrast that with a generic hotel room. It's unpredictable, it's uncontrolled, and every muffled voice, every strange hum from the mini fridge, it's an unknown. Your brain is much more likely to flag those sounds not as background noise, but as high alert signals that need investigating. This sudden loss of control leads to something called spatial disorientation. It's that feeling of being just a little off. All your established habits, like knowing exactly where the bathroom is in the pitch dark, are suddenly useless. Your brain, without its familiar map, just defaults to its highest security setting. It's not just that you're in a new room, it's that your internal GPS is blank. And to your ancient brain, that feels inherently unsafe. So we get the biology and we get the environmental trigger. This right here is the turning point. Because once you understand the system, you can learn how to work with it. It's time to make a really critical shift in your mindset, from being a passive guest to becoming an active commander of your space. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If your brain's security system is on high alert, scanning for danger, how do you tell it, hey, it's okay, everything's safe? How do you give that vigilant part of your brain the signal that it can finally stand down and get some rest? Well, the answer isn't to ignore the feeling, but to actively respond to it. This is maybe the single most important idea we'll talk about. Most people approach a hotel room with this mindset of passive occupancy. They see it as a temporary box, they close their eyes, and they just hope they fall asleep. The shift we need to make is to active personalization. You have to stop seeing it as a generic room and start seeing it as your own mobile sovereignty zone. For the time you are there, you are no longer just a guest, you are the chief security officer of this space. And your job is to command the environment and give your brain the signals of safety it's craving. I love this reframe. That unease you're feeling, it's not a malfunction, it's not anxiety.
Think of it as an environmental data request. Your brain is just asking questions. Is the perimeter secure? Do we know all the entry points? What are those weird noises? Instead of fighting that feeling, your job is to calmly and methodically give it the data it's asking for. Once that request is fulfilled, the whole system can finally power down. So how do we provide that data? Well, that brings us to the most practical part of our explainer, the 360 Perimeter Protocol. This is a simple, step-by-step guide for gathering and feeding your brain the exact security information it's looking for. The protocol has 4 simple steps. Think of them as neurological standing orders, clear instructions you can give your brain's security system to tell it it's safe to stand down. They are Arrival Audit, Olfactory Anchoring, Uniform Luminosity, and Hardware Redundancy. Let's break each one down. Okay, first up is the Arrival Audit. This is all about physical interaction. Don't just glance at the door. Physically touch it, test the lock. Go to the window, check the latch, look through the peephole, and then, for an extra layer of privacy, just cover it up with a piece of tape or a tissue. And finally, turn off all the lights and just walk the path from your bed to the bathroom. The goal here is to build a tactical mental map of the space. This physical engagement replaces that blank, scary space with a known, mapped territory in your mind. Next up is olfactory anchoring, and this one is a fantastic neurological shortcut. See, our sense of smell is wired directly to the brain centers for emotion and memory. So by bringing an item from home, a pillowcase is perfect for this, or even a little travel spray with a familiar scent, you're introducing the smell of safety into this new room. And that scent can actually bypass the brain's conscious vigilance and signal directly to its emotional core that you're in a safe, familiar place. It's a really simple way to kind of trick your brain into feeling secure. The third step is creating uniform luminosity. We've all been there, right? Waking up in a pitch black, unfamiliar room is a recipe for instant panic. The solution is just to pack 1 or 2 small motion-activated nightlights. Place one near the bathroom, maybe one near the door. This gets rid of what you might call shadow gaps and make sure that if you do wake up, your path is gently lit. The goal is to make the space predictable, even in the middle of the night, and prevent that jolt of confusion. And finally, the 4th standing order, hardware redundancy. So you've mapped the space, you've made it familiar. The final step is to provide definitive physical proof that the perimeter is secure. And this is as simple as packing a lightweight rubber door wedge. Sliding that wedge under the door provides an extra physical barrier that your brain immediately understands. It's a clear, unmistakable signal that says, this entry point is now doubly secure. This is often the last piece of the puzzle that Night Watchman needs to finally clock out. By following this protocol, you've done so much more than just settle into a room. You've actively taken command. And this leads us to our final and maybe most important shift in perspective, which is about seeing this whole experience not as a weakness, but as a sign of incredible strength. In a world that can sometimes dismiss the sensitivities that come with getting older, it is so important to remember this. Your brain's heightened awareness in a new room is not a sign of becoming frail. It's a sign of a highly functional, deeply experienced brain that is excellent at assessing threats. It is high situational awareness. It's a form of resilience. Your brain is doing exactly what millions of years of evolution designed it to do: keep you safe. So the next time you find yourself checking the locks or asking for a room that's not right next to the elevator, please know you are not being a bother. You are practicing a form of sophisticated self-reliance. You have navigated decades of life's challenges. You are a master of adaptation. Mastering a new space is just one more skill in your toolbox. And it's a skill that saves your energy for what actually matters: enjoying the sights, the family, and the adventures you came for. All right, we've covered the science, the mindset, and the protocol. Now it is time to put it all into action. Let's wrap this up with a simple, gentle challenge for your very next trip away from home. For your next night away, I want you to try the room sovereignty check. It's just 2 easy steps. First, pack one item that smells like home for that olfactory anchor we talked about. A pillowcase is a fantastic choice. Second, pack a simple security tool, like a door wedge, for your hardware redundancy. These 2 small, proactive steps send incredibly powerful safety signals straight to your brain. So, what's the big takeaway here? First, please remember that sleeping with one eye open is an ancient survival tool. It's not a travel failure. Your brain is just doing its job, protecting you. Second, bringing a familiar scent from home, that's the fastest way to trick your brain into feeling safe. And finally, the most empowering thought of all, taking charge of your room is the absolute key to joyful, energetic travel. You are the manager of your own peace of mind. So master the space, signal the safety, and reclaim the deep, restorative rest you absolutely deserve.